geographical objects. The Kazakhstan. She is fluent in Turkish and Arabic. She won a grant to participate in a summer course organized by the Friedrich Ebert Foundation Kazakhstan, and she's also currently working on the foundation's project Kazakhstan and Gender. She has about 50 scientific articles published in foreign and national press institutions and training methodical manuals. So, dear Zhazira Agabekova, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Almira. Could I share my slides?
Yes, you can. It's all ready to go for you.
Dear participants of today GenCon talks, I am glad to meet you at this meeting. My today's topic is gender and the Kazakh names. Before starting my topic, I would like to comment on the translation of this topic in Kazakh and the Russian languages. The term gender in English pronounced gender in both Kazakh and the Russian. For example, the usage of terms like gender policy and the gender inequality. The Kazakh and the Russian words for sex, in Kazakh we say zhenaz, and the sex in Russian we say pol. In this message and our translate is sex, which means only the biological concept in English. It is not just a sexual concept. It has a wide range of usage and the meaning as well. In this regard, it's good to be very careful in translation into Kazakh and the Russian, because it is very actually in the nowadays in Kazakhstan. So again, our today topics is gender and the Kazakh names. There is a branch of science called onomastics, which studies names. It studies all names, proper nouns in the word in all their aspects, the reasons for their naming, etymology, lexical semantic meaning, the socio-psychological direction of the people who introduce that name, the events associated with the history of the people, the external relations of the state, traditions and rituals are considered as the basis of onomastics as well. The spirit of the country and the vision of the future of the generation living in that era are also the reflect in the names. Also, onomastics is divided into several areas, such as earth, water names, human names, star names, street names, river, water, mountain, stone names, and so on. So today, we'd like to give you information about personal names and their gender characteristics reflect in Kazakh onomastics. How did I come up with this topic? Let me tell you about this first. I teach a course of onomastics, history, and the function of names at Nazarbayev University. In this course, we will get acquainted with anthroponymic research and compare the culture, customs, and the laws of naming the people of the world. 3 years ago, in one of the such classes in Kazakhstan, a female student said, "My name is Ul Jalgas." Ul, it is son, boy, Jalgas, to be continued. My younger sister name is Uldana. Ul, it is son, boy. Dana, it is clever from person. And I don't like my name. It is not my fault that there was no son in the family. I want to change my name, but I am thinking about respect for my parents. Therefore, she said, it is necessary to get rid of the traditions that discriminate against girls, promoting the boy's position in society. Since then, I started to study about gender inequality and the role of women in the society. It was natural to associate in with onomastics because in this area it is currently manifested. In the Kazakh family, Turkic family, as the boy has a special place. The son is the one who will continue the generation. Only the names of the sons are recorded in the family genealogies. If only girls are born in the family, then the offspring generation of that person will stop. Therefore, there are 3 or 4 girls in a row born in the family, there is a tradition to name them boy, hoping that the next child will be a boy. This tradition continues to this day. Ул жалғас, for example, ул тусын, son be born, ул дана, ул босын, ул бике, қызды ғой, жаңыл, etc. The documentary Қыз болсын, Let There Be a Girl, presented to us by the United Nations Population Fund, found in 2019, says there are 17,400 women in Kazakhstan with the name Ulbosun or a similar name. In short, there are 294 meanings of the names that wish for a boy. 53.6% of Ulmeken, Uljalgas, Ulbike, Qızdıgoy, and Жаңыл were born in rural areas. Names with roots ul or similar meanings are prevalent in the southern Kazakh regions. Fortunately, this trend began to decline. For example, from 1990 to 2090, there were 30,083 people with the name Ulbosun or similar. From 2010 to 2019, the number decreased to 12,264 girls. However, this number are not small yet. According to the Statistical Population Register database, it turned out that the number of girls born in the period from 1905 to 2019 with names starting with the root ul, as well as names with similar meaning, was 75,400 people. Of this, 40,433 people, 53.6 lived in rural areas. The most significant number of girls who received special names was born in 2008, 1,667 people. Then discarded order. In 1994, 1,616. In 2007, 1,534. In these years, there are about 9,500 girls. who, as it were, predetermined the birth of sons in the family in the future. It turned out that the most significant distribution of names beginning with the root ol, as well as names with similar meanings among females is in the South region, Almaty, Jambul, Kızılorda, and the Turkestan regions, the cities of Shymkent and the Almaty, which is in total 69.6%, or more than two-thirds of all females with the corresponding names in the country. In the western region, Aqtobe, Atrau, Mangstau, and the West Kazakhstan regions, and in the central region, Akhmola and the Karaganda regions, and the city of Nur-Sultan, the number of females which such names is somewhat less common, 16.3%, and 8.4% respectively. The lowest prevalence of appropriate names of observed among women in the North region is Kazakhstan, Kostanay, and the North Kazakhstan regions, 5.7%. One of the reasons for giving such names in the southern regions is the frequent resettlement of Kazakhs. And the terms of the number of children, the southern regions are also at the front line. In the western regions where Kazakh traditions are strongly followed, this number is not very high. Currently, research is being conducted on the reasons for this. As you know, the northern regions are in the last place, both in terms of population and the number of Kazakh living there. In the most cases, girl born fourth, fifth, or after were named with the above names. As the analysis of statistical data over the past 10 years shows, only slightly more than half of the cases led to the birth of the next sons. Of the total number of those born following daughters with special names, only 1,923 children were born within 2 years. This belief may not always be accurate, and it is often said that a name that begins with all harms and the person's psychology at a young age. In this regard, we can pay attention to interviews from the mass media. Here, you can read the interviews from these girls in slide, who are named with names with the roads used. For example, Ulbolson, her names. I am the fourth girl in the family, in the fact. That's why the name is Ulbolson. She is glad for the fact. She says, boy, I'm glad for the fact that after me, a boy was born. Now my brother is 16 years old. If this somehow works, then why not name a child in this way? This name did not affect my upbringing in any way. I was not raised as a boy. I think this name doesn't even suit me because I don't have any boys habits at all. Second, our interview, Uljalghas. I have an older brother and 3 sisters. I am the youngest in the family. It seems to me that my name has greatly influenced my personality. Since childhood, I have behaved like a boy and have never been interested in dolls or other things that girls usually like. I mostly used to have a male friends. I have never been tender. I am only now getting used to this. And I know I am not attracted to men. Even if it sounds fatuous, I believe this how my name affect me. As a child, I did not like it. Even now, I don't really like it either. When I was a child, it seemed to me that my parents wanted a boy. And the youth, I think, when I was a child, it seemed to me that my parents want a boy, but I was born instead of him. It was also annoying that all my mother family members had normal names, while I had Uljalgas. Frankly, I still dislike my aunt who suggested that name to my parents. The boy was never born after me, but it made me feel unwanted. Therefore, no, I will not call my child like that. Third, Ulberson, she too doesn't like her name, Ulberson, because she gave her name, her parents to, because after my parents' name is Ulberson, because after the eldest son, they had 5 girls in a row, including me. My parents, especially my grandpa and the grandma, sincerely believe in this belief. This is because my older sister was named Norgus, translate as bright girl, and it was after her that some girls began to be born. Can you read in the slide here? My name, she says, my name did not affect my upbringing in any way, but it did a little to my character. I've always been closer to the boys and played mostly with them. Yes, sometimes my peers offended me and laughed at my name. At such moments, I was upset and did not understand why they had called me that. There were even thoughts to change it, but over time I realized how difficult it is when there is only one boy in the family. Now I love my name and believe that it gave our family son. One researcher, the antonym of the name Ulbolsun, which is kız bolsun, kız daughter, we noticed that such a name is very rare. Interestingly, the name was given only to the girl, not to the man. It means that there is a motivation in naming which is the opposite intention. For example, just as a very beautiful child is given the names as Elimies, do not be noticed, Eleusis, not be noticed, and the Jaman by bad person, with the intention for others not jinxing the baby. So if many girls are born and named as kız bolsun, the motivation here is not give birth to a boy next time, not girls. This does not mean that more boys in the family will not be born or that they will not be born in a row. There are families with 3 or more boys or even no girls. This shows us that there is situation that arises a gender inequality in the early stage when the child is just born. As we mentioned above, Kazakh people have very good traditions on naming. In a family with grandparents, these grandparents often get to name their grandchildren as an honor given to them. Moreover, according to the Kazakh traditions, it is not welcome to buy the clothes for their children and to prepare their names in advance before they are born. That is why the role of the mother in naming a child is sometimes diminished. In the past, when a mother gave birth and cared for her child in a hospital, the father or relatives used to prepare the document with the child's name. Nowadays, this process is online, so it is easy to do, and the mother can contribute more to the process of naming the child. Another phenomenon in onomastics in anthropology is the masculine direction of personal names derived from the male family members' names. Agabek, Aga, it is brother. Atabek, Ata, grandfather. Bek, it is suffix. Nagashi Bek, Nagashi, maternal uncle. Jianbai, nephew. Ennebay, Enne is this little brother. And Ennebek, Cookie Bek, Cookie, big brother. Cookie Bai, etc. Accordingly, there are no names associated with sister. Apke girl, for example, Apa girl, Apa Tai, Nurapa, for example, grandmother and aunt. The Kazakh people have national peculiarities is their own meaningful and valuable traditions is naming. They gave their children beautiful names with the intention that they will have a better future. However, sometimes there are names that the child does not like. Therefore, when naming a child, let's not forget and consider the future of the child, his place in society, and try to give meaningful and beautiful names to them. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much. That was incredibly interesting.
Thank you for attention.
Yeah, that was great. It's really very interesting to see some of these influences. We do have time for some questions. It's us. So, you know, I want to open it up to some questions and see if there are any.
I can add some insights and then ask a question. I don't know how it happened, but just yesterday we were discussing this issue. On Instagram, there is like stories you might have heard about. So there was like a trend and they ask a question and then you answer and repost it on your stories. Yesterday, I was asked a question, how did your parents wanted to name you, but they didn't? So the intention. In my case, I am the fourth daughter. And I come from Kazakh family, though I am from Uzbekistan. And my parents were recommended to name me as Ulbolsun. That means let it be the son. But my mom, being a very like modern even that time and being from like Russified mentality, she decided not to give this name and she just cried. She had to fight with other family members not to name me with such a, how to say, gendered name. And finally, they took it in serious and I was given this beautiful name, Almira, thanks to them. But anyway, you know what happened? They gave me another pseudonym, like they used to call me like with a boy's name. In Russian, it's called Alyosh. So even now, everyone calls me as Alyosh, which in Russian means a boy name. So after me, the fifth one was a boy. And yes, and even now people call me Totya Alyosh, like Auntie Alyosh, but Alyosh, it's a boy name. Can you imagine auntie and a boy name? Like Auntie John, it's like Auntie David. So they still call me with my like second name, which was like intentionally done by my parents. But in my like at university and like more official, people call me by Almira. So I think it's really, yes, a very interesting topic. Thank you for your presentation. I'm very glad that I got that numbers, like statistical data about how many such names exist in Kazakhstan at the moment. It was very insightful. And the question will be like, how can we diminish this kind of stereotyped, how to say, thinking of people in order not to have some kind of stress on young girls? Are there any suggestions, and what is the future of this tradition? Is it going to decrease or not? I just want to see your idea, as you are an expert in this field.
Almira, I answer you. So first, thank you so much for your question. It is I answer your question in Kazakh, but Nurila translate for Kelly for you, okay? Қазір жаңа мен неде айттым баяндамада, бұл қазір түсіп жатыр, енді азайып жатыр. Бірақ осы проблеманы шешу тура бір 10 жылда мүмкін қиын. Өйткені көбінесе бұндай ауылдар, есімдер ауылда көбірек. Содан кейін қазақтарда көп балаларды ауылдарда, көп балалы ата-аналарда. Содан кейін қазіргі ұрпақ, қазіргі 25-тегі, 20-дағы ұрпақ мүмкін 1-2 ұрпақтан кейін шешіледі. Уже олар біледі, баланың жеке құқығын сақтау керек, олар болашақта да осындай бір қоғамда өздерін еркін сезіну үшін деген сияқты. Одан кейін мынандай нәрсе бар. Нурила, сіз аударып үлгересіз ба? Альмира, вы понимаете меня?
Осы жерге дейін бір аудара салайын, yeah. So there is a kind of a hope that that this problem will be solved after 2 or more generations, but not earlier. So in the early 10 years, in the next 10 years, it's really unlikely to solve this problem. And there is a hope that maybe people will become more aware of the child rights, that there are rights in children. So there will be more. They will become more aware about that. Maybe they will start to realize that we need to take the opinions and the feelings of children into account when we are naming them. So there is a hope like that.
Мен ерте шешіледі деп ойлайын десем, менің өзімнің әріптестерім, мен замандас әріптестердің өзі менің осы проблеманы айтып жүргенімді дұрыс санамайды. Бұл традицияны сіз бұза алмайсыз, неге бұны алып шығасыз деген сияқты айтады маған қазір. Бұл проблеманы, ол қазақтың традициясы деген сияқты. Сондықтан да мен бір 20 жылда мүмкін. Екінші нәрсе, қазіргі уақытта Біріккен ұлттар ұйымында да бар кішкентай баланың мәселесін қорғау, оның болашағы деген. Осындай заңдарды қазіргі уақытта қоғамда көбірек түсіндіру жұмыстарын жүргізу керек те. Сон реклама болмаса да түсіндіріп, баланың болашағына қарау керек. Қазір бізде мынандай есімдер бар. Ер балаларда да саммит деген, Мельс деген есім бар. Университетте Мельс, Маркс, Энгельс, Ленин, Сталин. Вообще ол өте қиын адам. Сосын Конрев деген есім бар, қазақ. Комрев, коммунистический революция. Қазір ол кісіні жасы 56-60-та ма сондай адамдар жүр арамызда. Сондықтан да бұны солай балалардың құқын қорғау жөніндегі құжаттарды дұрыс түсіндіру арқылы шешетін сияқтымыз.
So Zhazira says that she wants to hope that this problem will be solved in the near future, but she thinks that it's really unlikely because even the colleagues that are working with her does not kind of approve of her talking about this kind of problems, because there are still some kind of stereotypes about women, and they think that it's a good tradition to follow still. So it's the hope that this problem will be solved in the near future is really low. And also she says that we can solve this problem by conducting some kind of explaining works like this kind of workshops and seminars. And also she says that she notes that even United Nations now is like highly focusing on this problem and issue of children rights. So maybe we can explain and interpret those kind of documents into Kazakh people, and we can, by this kind of explanation works, we can explain to the people that children's rights are important too.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So you said there is a small decrease that happened recently. What are your thoughts on why that happened, or do you know kind of why you, if there aren't workshops already being conducted and things, and what do you think is influencing that?
Жаңағы сіз айттыңыз ғой, соңғы жылдарда азайды ондай сандар. Иә, сол не үшін болуы мүмкін?
Қазір адамдардың, әсіресе жастардың үлкендерге ат қойғызу деген сияқты салт дәстүр бірте-бірте кетіп жатыр. Жастар өздері қояды, жас семьялар. Сондықтан олар қазір более глобализационный, современный, модерн аттар қойғысы келеді. Мысалға, даже киноның шетелдің аттарын қойғысы келеді. Кинодағы жақсы, современный кинодағы аттарды қойғысы келеді. Сондықтан солай азайып жатыр. Оқығандар мүмкін көп.
Okay, so in the presentation, she talked about like a tradition that Kazakh families let the grandparents name their children, but that kind of trend is decreasing right now. So the parents themselves try to name their children, not giving this right to the grandparents. Maybe that affected influences to the lowering of these kind of names. And yeah, so as parents right now are more modern and they are younger, maybe, and they are more educated. That's why maybe this affected the decrease in this trend.
Содан кейін қазір Қазақстанда бала тууды жоспарлау бар. Бірден туа бермейді, мысалға, жастар әсіресе ойланып, жоспарлап туады да, ол қыз деген сияқты мүмкін бұл да әсер ететін шығар.
Yeah, so maybe the fact that people started to plan plan the birth of the children, not just giving birth. So maybe that affected too.
And that's connected maybe with the mother's ability to have some say. I don't know if maybe that has to do with also the ability of mothers to have more say in the name of the child. Because Almir, you said your mother was the one who really didn't want that to happen.
Әйелдердің рөлі артқаннан да осы әсер етіп жатқан шығар дейді. Яғни әйелдер осы баланы не істеуге, ат қоюға үлес қосқан.
Yes.
And I want to add one more thing. So I have two children, one girl and one son, and not me, nor my husband were given a right to give names. My husband's parents chose those. And the names were very ancient Kazakh name, like Ayğanım. It was for me, for the first time I heard that name, because I come from Uzbekistan and I didn't know much well about Kazakh ancient names. And it is very difficult to pronounce because this R letter exists only in Kazakh language.
Yes.
So I was telling parents, let's choose another name. In future, she will have problems if she goes abroad or if she meets other people, they will not be able to pronounce her name. I was about crying, but they said, my husband is the only son. So they said, I will name the children of my only son. So now she is 6 years old. Now I have no problems because I'm used to it. But that's very difficult to remember and pronounce. And she says, everybody calls her Ayganim in Russian accent. No one's pronounced the R letter like in proper. So even now she gets problems. Like she's asking, why people call me Ayganim, not Ayganim? I cannot explain that people cannot pronounce this name. So anyway, it's 2021, but this kind of stereotypes and traditions exist even in the capital with modern parents. I mean, if I'm much modern, but the parents are still affecting on us.
Wow, thank you for sharing.
Германияда, Данияда, мысалы, иә, осындай бірнеше мемлекеттерде тыйым салынған аттар бар. Оларда декларация бар, арнайы документ бар, балаларға қойға болмайтын ат бар. Мысалға, Гитлердің аты, екі жынысты, жыныстарға байланысты аттар, топонимдердің аттарын қойға болмайды. Адамның психологиялық несіне әсер ететін, этикасына сондай әсер ететін аттарды қойға болмайды деген тізім бар. Мен комиссияда осындай тізім жасайық деп айттым Қазақстанда. Соның ішінде болады балаларға жаман аттар беруге. Жоқ, сіз традицияны бұзып жатырсыз деп маған бәрі солай. Бәрі емес, көп адамдар. Солардың ішінде, мысалға, бізде жаман аттар, бала ауыра берсе жаман ат қояды деген сияқты, сондай нәрсе бар. Көтібар деген ат қояды, мысалға. Боқкөт деген Евгений Букетов, это его grandfather, Боқкөт, но бәрі ассимиляцияға түсіп, это букет болды. Сондай сияқты нәрселер бізде де мүмкін Қазақстанда жасау керек. Балаларға қоюға болмайтын аттар деген сияқты. Мүмкін содан да шешілетін шығар.
So Zhazira pointed out that there, for example, in countries like Germany, there are the lists of names that are prohibited to name the children. Those kind of names can be related to the fact that they can badly affect the children's psychology. For example, the names like such as Hitler. And in one of the meetings, Zhazira proposed to create that kind of list for the Kazakh names for girls and boys, but the number of people who approved it were really small. So they opposed it on the basis that Zhazira was like destroying the Kazakh tradition and something like that.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it sounds like very challenging work, very challenging, important, but challenging work. Yeah, thank you so much. For me, I mean, just such a fascinating conversation. I do have a student who has Ol at the beginning of her name, and she did explain what it meant, but I didn't understand the depth of what it meant, right? I didn't quite when she explained, I didn't quite understand the impact, but she did say too that it was, she really didn't like it. She didn't like that because she said she didn't like her name. And so because she didn't, yeah, like you said, she didn't feel wanted, right? So I think thank you for sharing that with me to help me understand my students better too.
Әрбір қазақстандық түсінеді, ол болсын, ол жалғас, осы ұлмен келетін отбасыларда ұлдың проблемасы бар.
So every Kazakh it's really common, and every Kazakh knows that when a girl is named this kind of name with the root ul, every Kazakh understands that that the number of boys in the family is really small, and this was the issue. That's why they named Ulbolson or Ulberson. So they do not mean these girls these names. They do not name it just to give this name. Just the name is just because the name is beautiful. So there is issue of the number of boys in the family all the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any other comments, questions, anything else to bring up before we wrap up? Okay, if not, then I'll share my screen for the last, just to show what's coming up in GenCon and in our research topics. Sorry, I'm not ready to go. So our next virtual talk is on December 8th at 2 p.m. Funda Guven is talking about the identity construction of young Muslim women in Turkish literature. And ways to get involved. You can share your thoughts about a GenCon event, suggest a new topic or event, provide ideas for a speaker, offer support, for example, to help with organization, social media, or networking. And then also you can email us and join our mailing list as well. All right, so I believe that's it. Yep. And we are going to take a picture. If that's okay, I'll stop sharing screen.
Just a second, let me do
Okay.
a screenshot. That's it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And then hope to see you both again, because it was really great meeting you. And thanks, Almira, for your help.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, have a great day.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, Zhazira.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice
Bye.
day.
Bye. Thank
Have
you.
a nice day.